Hi, welcome to the Edge PLM Solid Edge Tooltips. I'd just like to show you the main tool of the Siemens Solid Edge synchronous technology, the steering wheel. The steering wheel is the tool we use to modify the faces of solids in the synchronous environment. The way we do that is simply to place our cursor over our face and click, and you'll see how a control arrow appears. I can click on that control arrow and move that face. No playing around with sketches or anything like that. Now you'll see that the full steering wheel has appeared, and that's made up of our primary axis, secondary axis, origin, torus, cardinal points, and control knobs. So to move the arrow to an offset, move the face to an offset distance away from something, what I need to do before I click is to press shift and then click. That will allow me to move off to an offset distance. Type in a value. Then I can click on my destination point, and you'll see how that specifies an offset distance. Okay. So to move the control arrow, all I need to do is click on the bottom, and that will allow me to move the arrow to any point I wish. And as I move it around, you can see that the steering wheel reorientates, and also just up and to the right of the origin you'll see that there are indicators showing us exactly what points that we're passing over. So that's a midpoint and an end point. So if I move my steering wheel to my edge, you'll see how it reorientates with the secondary axis in line with the edge. Now what that does, it allows me to rotate a face. The way to rotate it is to click on the arrow, the wheel that goes around the torus, and then as I move my arrow I can rotate to any angle I wish, and I can type that angle in as well. Now let's say I wanted to rotate that face around a midpoint. What I would need to do is move it to the edge, and that will help me to specify the orientation, the rotation plane. But what I need to do is move it to the side. But you'll see how it reorientates itself. So we need to override that. The way we do that is to press shift before hitting the origin, and then I can move it over. So now clicking on the ring on the torus, it will allow me to rotate around that midpoint. Okay, moving connected faces. For example, this face is connected to these faces either side. So normally when I move it, it will decrease and increase in area. Okay. Now if I choose my tip option, that will maintain the area, the size of that front face, and the side faces will adjust accordingly. And I've also got what we call the lift option, where all the faces stay the same size but move relative to one another, like so. If I wanted to move more than one face at a time, what I need to do is press space, and that will allow me to add faces to my selection set. I can then move my steering wheel wherever I like and move all those faces in one go. Another method of selecting multiple faces would be just to draw a crossing window. Again, move the steering wheel like so. Okay, to carry on, I've got a multi-body separate part here, separate body from my main solid body, which I wish to move so that it engages with the main body. So the way I do that is to select it using my crossing window, and what I want to do is stand it upright first of all. So I'm going to use my torus to rotate it 90 degrees like so. Now I want to move it down onto the top face. So the easiest way to do that is to use my primary knob, click on that one, and then I can point it anywhere into 3D space, like so. So you can see it's going to move sideways, it's going to move backwards, it's going to move downwards. Click on my primary angle, primary arrow, and click for a destination, like so. Okay, so say I wanted to move it around on that 2D face. Again, select it all, move my steering wheel down to the top face, and then click on the blue plane that's within the torus. That allows me to move around in 2D space, like so. Gives me free movement in 2D. If I needed to change the direction the primary arrow is pointing in, I can click on these cardinal points. That will allow me to move orthogonally around. And clicking on my secondary axis allows me to move up and down, like so. If I needed to switch my primary and secondary arrows around, I need to press shift when I click on the middle plane, like that, and that switches the primary and secondary around, like so. If I wanted to rotate the steering wheel without rotating the solid, what I need to do is to press shift and then click on the primary knob, for example. That allows me to specify an angle, so for example 22.5. Specify the direction, and then I can move my object in at that angle. And the same goes for the secondary axis knob, arrow knob. Pressing shift before pressing the knob allows me to specify a particular angle. So it's got two, that 48 gives us two solutions. So if I choose one of those solutions, I click on that arrow, and it allows me to move in that direction. If I want to move the arrows around the normal axis of the, for example, the primary, I press Control before clicking on the knob, and that rotates around in that angle, like so. And the same goes for the secondary axis. Press Control, then the knob, and that rotates again around the normal. Like so. Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about the live section command. It's a great way of making changes to the solid as if it were a 2D sketch without actually having to create the 2D sketch. So our live section command's up here, and we choose a face, and we can position our live section like so. Now to make it easier to see and work with the live section, I can turn off the solid itself by turning off the design body, and that leaves me with just the live section. So I can take that live section, I can start to modify it as if it were a 2D sketch. Turning back, turning the design body back on shows that it has updated the solid shape. I'm going to turn it off again, and I'm going to draw a cutout on my live section. So it's just like I was working on a 2D sketch. So what I do is I lock to that plane, and I can start drawing. so. Select that region and extend it through like that, and turning my design body back on shows that I've created a cutout. Once I finish with my live section, all I need to do is turn it off in the Pathfinder. To learn more about Solid Edge tools, just refer to the online tutorials, which can be found by clicking here and clicking here for the online and clicking here for the built-in tutorials. If you prefer a classroom environment for your CAD training, do contact Edge PLM and speak to the training manager.